You tuned into another episode of Not the Average Local Rapper, hosted by yours truly, East Shore Ridge. This episode, we're going to talk about something that every artist gets to at some point, and it's not always the easiest first step to make, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to figure it out because, like I said, it's something that every artist gets to, and that's, releasing music, releasing these singles, releasing these EPs and these projects. It's a lot different now than it used to be, and I just kind of, I want to talk about both. Like even though the way it used to be, like especially when I first started, like a lot of that stuff isn't really relevant anymore. But a lot of the stuff that was used back then can still be applied now, and maybe a different way, but it's still kind of the same scheme. You know what I mean? So, like I said, back when I started in like the mid 2000s and shit, releasing music, man, it was like a whole process behind it, man. Cause really it was only CDs back then. Like I came in like the beginning of the posting music on the internet era, you know what I mean? But it was still more so like everybody was still rocking with the CDs and shit. So it was just a different time, a different hustle, man. Like even down to like I think back then with me, like the first step was always like, like once you figured out, the title of the project and shit like that, it was like, you gotta get the cover made and you gotta get designed and might even, go do a whole photo shoot to do that. I remember I dropped a mixtape back in 2007. If you've been listening to me for that long, you remember Respect My Grind. I remember I went and, halfway did like a photo shoot for that joint, you know what I mean? I just picked like the best picture that I, think I took, and I just got I think I got somebody off MySpace to do the cover or whatever, but, I guess it's still kind of the same thing now, but it's like now it's just so many different ways to, get covers made, and now, covers don't really, have the same standards as they used to back then. But like back then, it was like, like they just kind of had to be like a certain way, because it was strictly CDs, so it was like that was like one of the main things you had to catch people's eye, like with the cover, like because that's gonna be people's first, first thing that they're going, like judge the project off of is the cover because that's gonna be the first thing they see. Like they now, like people can preview songs before they even decide to, give an album a listen or something like that. But now, back then it was like, if you was trying to push a CD, like you just had to, like unless you had something around, that could play the music, while you was trying to push the CD, which a lot of people wasn't really, thinking about doing. Like, it was like the cover had to, catch people's attention. So that was a big part of it. And then it was just like, like the whole process of, pressing all that shit up. It was different ways to going about doing that. Like, and I did it a couple different ways. Like it was a website that I used to deal with. I would get the CDs like pressed up. I would get whatever like words printed on them like that I needed to get on there. Usually like my name and the title and a couple other things on there and shit. And I would just get it like lasered on the CD. I'd get probably like 50 to 100 of them at a time and shit. And then I would just get the cover printed through like I think another website like mixtapecovers.com, some shit like that. But you get the bulk deals on the covers, and then you just get the CD cases. And yeah, man, it was just, then sometimes, like, cause even though I would get the CDs, made laser with the words on them, I would still have to burn them myself because like with them websites, they not gonna like burn certain things for you. They're not gonna cause of whatever reasons with the music or whatever. So it was like they'll do the printing on the CD for you, but if everything ain't gonna clear right, then like they not gonna actually put the music on there for you, which is cool. It's like just put the words on there for me, and I would just burn them myself. And that's when I was a whole like a whole distributing press up in there. With the CDs, man, it was times where I'd be up real late. Just burning my CDs and taking the cover, sticking them in the CD cases, and just getting all that shit ready for, wherever I had to go push it at, and a lot of times, it would be like, did little shows around the way, make sure you had CDs on deck. People, push CDs for me, you know what I mean? So I would, just make sure I would always have, a package to give them or whatever. And, you just always need them on deck, man. When you go certain places, you hit the malls, shit like that. And, yeah, man, that, it was really like, how, be on movies when, motherfuckers would be out. And, I mean, there's still cats out there doing it, man. Like, I still see dudes on Instagram, they really out there still hustling the CDs, man, and that shit is dope, man. So yeah, I mean, it was just a whole different scheme back then, even down to like, like what the end game was, it was like, once you released your music, you really just trying to like get in the hands of DJs or, try to get it to the radio if you're fortunate enough. And it was really that. It wasn't no viral. It wasn't no getting all these streams and shit like that. So it was just a different time, man. And to me, like it don't really feel like it was that long ago that it was like that. And I'm sure like the people that was doing music back then, I'm sure it feels like that at times for them as well. Like it just doesn't feel like it's been, that long and so many things have changed. But, releasing music now is just, like a whole totally different thing now because, back then when you had the hard copies, you try and, sell them for cash, like, and people respected it and people would buy it, like, it was times, I had bought, CDs from, artists that would run up on me and, try, sell their music. And I'm like, hey, man, I support the hustle. And, it was people that did that with me. So, I mean, now it's like, like, there ain't no, like, I mean, I think most artists now, getting into the merch shit, you know what I mean? Selling their merch, selling, features and shit like that, But as far as, like, making real money off the actual music, it's like it's different now, because it's based off streams. So, I mean, of course, some of these bigger artists out here, they really having good careers and shit just off of streams alone. But, I mean, it's just, like the times we in, of course, like, and so, as far as like, us up and coming artists, like, we gotta get into the stream game as well. So, that's where like now it's like, you got these services, DistroKid and TuneCore, and I think it's United Masters, and I think I'm missing one, but I really only I put one song on TuneCore in the beginning when I first started dealing with the streaming platforms and shit. And it was it was just kind of like a test run, just to see how all this shit worked. But then like it just seemed like for whatever reason, I think it might have been a couple reasons. It kind of just led me to a change of heart, and I ended up, going with DistroKid. So that's just, what I've been using, for the past couple years now is DistroKid. It just works for me, like I would advise anybody who, trying to make a decision like that. I think, I would just do my research on all of them and, just seem like which one would be the better fit, because that's exactly what I did when that time came, like like I said, I originally went with TuneCore, but then, amongst doing more research and, just like seeing what was a better fit for me, I ended up, going with DistroKid. So I did that, and then it's like, you want to make sure like you pick the right package, because they give you other shit. I'm having a hard time getting my words out right now. They give you options to pick from. Um, as far as like the packages and stuff, you got like the least expensive package, which like it's like the bare minimum, but like you got the middle one, which it gives you a good amount of what you need for real, and then you got the highest one, which is gonna give you more shit than you can have with the other two probably combined. But I think it's just all about what you feel like you need at that time. If there is a moment to upgrade, I mean it's always a moment to upgrade. But if it's for a reason like you feel like you need to upgrade, the option is there. And like DistroKid, they charge you annually, so it's like you're gonna pay that one big price, and then like good until that time next year. So um, I think picking that right package though, like not dealing with the bare minimum, because you just never know what you're gonna have to do and what type of information you're gonna need. And I never had the most basic package, so I don't know what you don't get. But I just know like I always try to go with like somewhere in the middle, or if I can even afford the highest package, I try to do that. But yeah, that's just important, knowing which package is most beneficial for you. And after all that, when it's time to release something, like the release date, just having like a date picked out. I think at a certain level, it don't really matter what day of the week it is. Like me, I think it's just in me to like the just like the bigger names. I like to release shit on like Tuesdays or Fridays and shit. But you can really just release shit any day that you feel like it. It's just a matter of if that shit can get cleared. You know what I mean? Like yeah, I guess DistroKid has their process of decide, whether a song can get cleared or not. I've never had an issue. I've never had a song that couldn't get cleared, but I'm sure there's stuff out there, where people try to, sneak up onto the platforms with beats off of YouTube that they didn't lease. So yeah, it's just it's it like I think it's just more like a lot of it is like about organization now. I mean, it always has been, but I think now it's like like it's just so many variables. Like when you about to release something, like I kind of lost my train of thought for a minute, but like you just got to make sure, like once you pick a release date, it's like you want to make sure, like you can clear everything as far as the beats, and you want to make sure, like the songs is mixed up to your standard, and mix and master the stuff like that. Had the cover art ready, like I think, like as far as the cover art, like what I was saying earlier, back then it was like like a whole process to just try to catch as many people's eyes. I think now like cover art ain't as important, but it's like you still want to try to do stuff that'll stand out and not just be so bland. Cause it's still like one of the first things that people catch. When it come to people releasing stuff, so it's like you want to try to do the best you can. You don't want to just slap up any old shit, but just having that ready and um, having all the the accounts link and match to the like say you collabing with somebody and like both y'all named as the artist, you want to make sure you got your end situated to where like like with you and another person release, it can get linked to like the catalog that you already have solo. You know what I mean? You want to have all that shit put together. You want to just make sure all your pages is the way they need to be, and because it's real important to like study analytics and see exactly what is getting motion and when and from who and all that shit. So I mean, it's just definitely things like that to pay attention to and make sure you got organized, and then having the royalty set up. You definitely want to with DistroKid, they got that whole thing, where you give them the information for however you wanted to, receive your royalties or whatever when you decide to withdraw them, and and of course, they're gonna take their cut. It's just how things work. But you just want to have all that set up though. Make sure like, because if you ever do want to. I mean, of course, you're going to want to cash out at some point, but whenever you decide to cash out, like, just have an understanding of, how all that goes and, have it already situated and stuff. So, definitely looking into, like, the royalties and dealing with the splits, when you working with other people, you want to have, the split set up the right way and, the information and shit like that. So, there's a lot of things like that, really count. And so, once you got all that taken care of and everything is good to go, it's like, the song's going to release, and then it's just about, how you promote things now. Like, that's definitely one of the bigger differences now. I mean, there's definitely still ways to, like, promote in person. Like I don't I mean, this is my podcast, so I don't really mind giving the game up, if people listen, but and I ain't the only person doing it, but I just try to watch exactly how much game I put out there, because for one, I don't want it to be taken in vain. So but I'll just say, like, as far as like the in-person promotion, like, it's real beneficial to have, business cards with your QR code on them. QR code, shooting people over to the link tree, or, your YouTube channel or whatever it is, that you decide to put on your business card, and have it, linked to where people can check you out. You know what I mean? So it's definitely ways, like, to still promote in person, and then, same thing with the QR code, getting stickers made and, slapping them down, man. It works, like when I was out in London, you know what I mean? We was, putting stickers on the trains and, in the, what they call them out there, the tube stations and stuff like that. Somebody actually hit me, and told me, they found my music by, waiting for the train in London. So, there's definitely ways, to promote effectively. It's just, it's one of the things, where you just get out of it what you put into it. You know what I mean? So, just having shit ready. Like once it do release, like is a big thing. Like you definitely want to have a way for people to know, like, go to the link in my bio on Instagram, or here's my email, or, here's a way to contact me. You want to, here's my YouTube channel, shit like that. You want to make sure, it's like easily accessible. And just, once, songs are out, or even before they're about to come out, you just want to try to, make content, built around, like, what it is that you're promoting. Even if you gotta do it, repeatedly a couple times, just you gotta let people know, like, this is what I'm pushing, like, and just make that content. Like, sometimes when I make the videos and I'll be talking and giving up the game, I'll have like certain songs playing in the background, and yeah, that's just kind of, but every strategy ain't for every person, of course. So all I can really do is just, offer what I know and experience. But yeah, man. I say, once you got all that aligned, it's time to start, releasing that music. And depending on how much music you got, I would pretty much, do it on a regular if possible. Me, I try to drop joints on all the platforms at least, every 2 to 4 weeks, to where, like, yeah, nothing is really getting played out, but at the same time, it's always gonna be more new shit to come. So yeah, man, I mean, releasing music, it can, I think it can be a challenge if it's nothing you never really, like, dealt with. But at the same time, once you really start learning, it's helpful and beneficial to you. But on that note, this has been another episode of Not the Average Local Rapper, hosted by yours truly, East Shore Ridge. I appreciate you listening. Catch you on the next one.